Something was wrong. He should have been able to feel something by now, at least according to what the elders had told him. However, an unwelcomed emptiness had flourished inside Tov's stomach, as the yellow bead necklace failed to react. From their visions, one of the accursed lost temples was here in the mountains. Tove and Yurei sailed on the air between the large peaks. They couldn't see the river anymore, only the rocky forms of the gigantic and silent rock formations. Several days ago, they had returned to their village with another piece of the Sparkle Star Lock, only to be sent out again after some swift magical healing. Why were the elders being so relentless? With all of Tove and Yurei's success, perhaps they desperately wanted to capitalize on the momentum. A slight bitterness flickered between Tove's eyes. Were there no other Vren dispatched for this purpose? Yes, Tove was excellent at navigating through the wretched human civilizations with little detection, and arguably the best to be sure. But why could no one else do this? There was more than just the Sparkle Star Lock to find in these mountains, although the second facet of their mission seemed much more daunting to find. The only thing the elders told him was to find the mountain with the image of the bird face.
So the bead still isn't reacting? Maybe the elders were wrong?
The elders received their visions from the Alicorni themselves. It was these mountains they saw in their collective mind's eye. The temple is here somewhere. Perhaps the Tengu might know where it is. It is their territory, after all.
So that leads me to my next question, Father. We're supposed to be looking for a mountain with the image of a bird face? Like, what do they mean?
You heard the same revelation I did from them. I'm no wiser than you on the obscure descriptions of the elders.
Sorry, Father. I'll keep quiet.
No. You don't have to keep quiet. I'm sorry, Squirt. I'm just a little vexed.
What's wrong, Father? Are you upset that we can't find the Tengu or the Sparkle Starlock?
No, that's not why I'm so testy at the moment. I suppose I'm a little worn down.
A little worn down? It's because we were sent off right after we got back from the crazy stuff with the cat people, huh?
Yes. You're quite perceptive, my sweet angel. I appreciate the great honor of supporting our masters, but I often wonder why we're the only ones who are being sent out.
Well, you're one of the greatest swordsmen of the tribe. You're also one of the most capable and the one that Alicorni trusts the most. It's only natural that they come to rely on you the most.
Another bitter swelling festered in Tove's stomach, and he averted his eyes from his daughter for a moment.
The greatest swordsman. Not likely. I might have been great a long time ago, but now I'm just a tired man who's oftentimes more lucky than skilled. There are many other Vren who can do what I do.
That's not true, Father. They may be younger, but none of the other Vren have the same courage, dedication, or skills that you have. I'm proud to be your daughter, and I know we're the best choices for these missions. I know you're tired, but I'm here to support you.
To be honest, I wouldn't have been able to get 2 of the Sparkle Star Locks without your ingenuity and determination. You are the best of us, and we will succeed because I am here to support you. It's the least I can do in my old age.
Old age? Father, you're so silly. You'll still have at least another 150 years before you can even be considered an elder. If we are successful with all of our endeavors, will you even get to be an elder one day?
What do you mean, Squirt?
Once they get back, it's going to be a total war. I'm sure we're going to win because we're the righteous side, but what will the Alicorni do to the land once they win it? What will they do to us?
I don't know.
Something caught Tove's eye, and he glanced off to the side. A trio of black shapes sailed through the sky, not unlike them, and the trio headed toward Yurei and Tove.
It seems rather than try to find them, the Tengu have found us. Be on your guard. We don't know if they'll be hostile.
Right. I'm ready for whatever happens.
Tove stopped flying forward and instead floated in midair. Yurei did the same, and she kept switching her gaze from him to the trio soaring toward them. Tove kept his hands at his sides, and he tried to appear calm and relaxed. In order for them to succeed in gaining audience and favor with the Tengu, they had to appear congenial. The three figures became more distinct the closer they got. The creatures were covered in black feathers, had large black wings extending from their backs and both arms and legs. Talons were at the ends of their arms and legs, although their hands had more finger-like talons. The Tengu had large black beaks jutting from their faces, and they all carried spears in their hand talons. They didn't wear any clothes, but had feathers covering anything that might have been considered indecent. The Tengu stopped in midair and flapped within 10 feet of Tove and Yurei, forming a ring around them. In terms of size, the Tengu were at least twice their size, standing about 5 to 6 feet in height. Their spears were pointed at Tove and Yurei as well.
What is this? What manner of creature are you?
These mountains and these skies belong to the Tengu. What business do you have here?
Please, we do not mean you any harm. My name is Tove, and this is my daughter Yurei. We are members of the Vren, and we are here to seek an audience with your leaders.
Vren? What is that? That sounds made up. I've never heard of such a thing.
We are an ancient race, and we have been forgotten by the world.
An ancient race? The Story Weaver will know of you. If this race is a real thing or not, we should consult her.
You said you wish to seek an audience with our leadership. Why do you wish to speak with our chieftain?
The Vren are in the service to ancient and forgotten gods and goddesses, the Alicorni. We would like to seek an audience with your chieftain to forge an alliance. We're also looking for a temple located within the mountains.
More made-up words. What is an alicorni? I say we kill them and bring them back to the village for food. They are too small to eat. They would not nourish a single bird, much less a family. It is not worth the effort to bring them back dead.
Enough! All of this talk about food is making my stomach rumble. You are looking for a temple? There is an old place built into the rock. I have seen it many times from afar, but I've never gone into it. I don't know about it, but the Story Weaver will know. She will know whether or not you are liars. Besides, the chieftain will want to know about strange creatures flying through our lands. Will you come with us peacefully?
Yes, we will come peacefully.
Very well, you will follow us to Crow Ledge, and you will stand before the chieftain.
The Tengu flapped their wings and then flew off in a direction. Tove and Yurei followed after them, and they descended down deeper into some mountainous valleys. Several smaller streams ran in the valleys, and herds of some sort of animal pranced in the grassy fields beside the streams. Eventually, a large rock formation came into view. A massive ledge jutted from the side of a mountain, and the edge of the cliff came to a fine point. Lines had been carved into the sides of the cliff, and it gave the appearance of a massive crow watching over the valley. As Tove and Yurei got closer to the ledge, they beheld the many nests and other settlements built into the sides of the mountain. Hundreds of eyes turned to Tove as they got closer to the ledge. Tove's heart sank in his stomach as soon as he landed on the ledge's surface.
Thanks, Saito, we're finally home. I swear I'm going to sleep for 3 whole days.
I promise you can rest as much as you'd like once we get to Cienba.
Oh, Cienba. I am so envious that you grew up there. The glamour, the sophistication. I have often dreamed of living there. You lived there too, didn't you, Mr. Nori?
Nori, Flara, Rayko, and Apisa rode through the northern gates of Jedi. The hustle and the bustle of the city hadn't changed in the time that they had been gone, and yet things didn't quite feel the same. Rather than ride so far back from him, Flara and her friends rode close to his mount. Over the last couple of days, they were more keen to his presence, and kept him engaged with conversation. It had been a weird thing at first, but the more they kept talking to him, the warmer Nori's insides became.
Yes, although not by choice. My time was no doubt not as pleasant as Flara's. Yes, the city is much busier than Jedi, and there are certain aspects of it that are glamorous and sophisticated, but there are also the seedier parts that came along with any city.
Oh, I doubt my time was much better than yours, honestly. Yes, I was surrounded by extravagance, but it was much more of a cage for me than it was a pleasantry. Mr. Nori, I have to give my report to the headmaster. Could you please see about securing us passage on a ship? Leaving tomorrow would be wonderful, but I also understand if we have to wait a couple days. The sooner we get to the capital, the better I will feel about the artifact we found.
Yes, I'll drop off my belongings in my room and then head to the docks.
Thank you.
Nori and the others rode to the stable from where they leased the horses. It was a sad thing to be parted from Mac the horse, for he was a good companion. But at least the horse nuzzled Nori's hand when they said their final goodbyes. Nori parted ways with Apisa, Rayko, and Flara when they got to their dorm rooms. Nori placed his travel bags and his Tetsubo in his room, and then left. Surely he wouldn't need his weapon, right? After the excitement of confronting spiders and shadow yokai, Nori sought only peaceful interactions. That was a silly thing to wish for, as he was a Chutar. But still, a man could hope. He did take his loot case, though, just to keep up appearances. Nori waltzed through the crowds with relative ease. Since he had lived in the city for so long, even though it had only been a couple of months, the novelty of his large stature had become absorbed into the general consciousness of Jedi. Very few people paid him any mind, and even those who stared in surprise glanced away moments later. It took nearly an hour for Nori to get to the docks near Jedi. There were 8 ships docked along the pier, and the closest ship still had their crew aboard. The crew of the ship were tying it off to the dock, but they stopped as Nori walked up the gangplank. Their eyes twinkled with a chilly unease.
Hey, boyo, what do you think you're doing? We don't need any entertaining.
Actually, I was wondering if I could speak to your captain. Is he or she still aboard?
The sailors all looked at one another for a long, weighed moment before they regarded Nori once more.
Why are you looking for our captain? I'll cut to the chase and let you know we don't need a musician to keep us in good spirits. You look pretty sturdy, though. Are you looking to be a sailor?
Thank you. I am very sturdy. I'm actually trying to find passage for myself and 3 other individuals. Is your captain on board?
No, boyo, the captain ain't on board. He's no doubt drinking his weight in the spirits at the Brandywine Barmaid. That's where all the captains go for drinking whenever they come to port here. Ain't no place for lowly scallywags like us, though. Or for you, for that matter. No offense.
If you're wanting passage, then you'll totally have to go see the captain. Do you know where the Brandywine Barmaid is?
Yes, I believe I do. I've never been inside, but I've played on the corner around it before. Thank you.
Nori walked away from the ship, but he couldn't help but notice the collective unease that the sailors all had. What bothered them so? Could it have been him? Nori walked back into the city and eventually found his way to the Brandywine Barmaid Tavern. It was a large 1-story building that had a painted sign of a bear in a dress, passing out drinks on a sort of tray. The image was quite comical, and Nori always smiled when he saw the sign. Nori went inside. The windows to the tavern were opened, and so natural light poured in from outside. There were several tables positioned along the interior of the space, and a long bar ran along the far wall. A dozen people sat around tables, and they drank from pewter mugs while they tossed dice or played domino tiles. When Nori entered, all eyes fell on him. One of the women playing the tables was quite recognizable. She was a tall woman with long brown hair and brown eyes. Luxie smiled, but then she went back to playing dice with the 3 people at her table. The portly, bald bartender from behind the counter called out to Nori as soon as he entered.
Well, well, well. What do we have here? It's been a long time since I've seen a damned Onistan, but I have never seen one with a music case. Did you rob someone, Mr. Mountain Man? Or are you here to play something for us?
Several of the people in the crowd yelled, "Play a tune," or other such things. Nori simply smiled a little, and he nervously rolled his shoulders with the loot case strap on it.
Actually, I'm trying to secure ship passage for myself and 3 other companions. I was told this is where I could find ship captains.
The warmth within the crowd members' eyes softened, and their smiles collapsed into frowns.
No self-respecting captain is going to risk their ship or their crew in the next 2 weeks, so you'd better be prepared to wait a while.
2 weeks? Are you serious? Why so long?
Because of the Great Kappa Migration, you damn fool!
The Great Kappa Migration? What's that? I've never heard of such a thing.
The ogre doesn't know about the Great Kappa Migration. Do you even know what a kappa is?
Many of the other people in the crowd laughed along with the male captain.
Yes, I know what a kappa is. I just don't know what event you're referring to. Companions and I have to get to Xianba as soon as possible. Waiting 2 weeks is out of the question.
Listen well, Onistan. The Great Kappa Migration is extremely dangerous for both ships and crew. Normally, kappa are cutesy little turtle beasts, but they become scary during the migration. No one is reckless enough to risk the...
I'll do it.
Suddenly, all eyes turned on the brown-haired female, who stood up from the table. She placed a hand on her sword, and she beamed a wide smile at Nori.
I'll take you and your companions to Xianba. For a price.
You can't be serious! Not even you can be that crazy.
Luxie walked around the table and towards Nori.
Oh, I am that crazy, I suppose. Or perhaps I am that lucky. This particular Onistan is a sort of good luck charm, like a magical lucky rabbit.
Oh, and why is that? What makes this Onistan so special?
Luxie placed a hand on Nori's shoulder.
Do you remember my story about the Karaba clan? This is that Onistan.
Suddenly, many of the people in the crowd beamed astonished expressions at Nori, and they began to whisper among themselves. Luxie pointed a finger at them.
Now, before any of you suddenly become bolder, I'm calling dibs on him, his companions, and his request for travel to... Where did you say you were going again?
Xianba.
Yes. Xianba. Wonderful. Come, let's head up to my ship and discuss the details and the payment for the fare.
Luxie wrapped an arm around Nori's and then led him out of the tavern. As he glanced back to the other captains, he saw the glimmer in their eyes. Each and every one of them scowled at Luxie, as if she had just skirted off with an unexpected treasure. Considering what happened between Luxie and Nori before, and what she knew, maybe she had.
Oh, great chieftain! These 2 strange creatures request an audience with you.
Tove and Yurei walked behind one of the Tengu who led them from the ledge. They walked through the crowd into a large square structure built into the side of the cliff face. The interior of the structure was decorated with colorful, multicolored banners on the walls, and thick red carpets on the ground. A raised platform was at the far end of the audience chamber, with a sort of throne woven from wicker and straw. A muscular Tengu sat upon the throne, and an ornate spear was clutched in one of its taloned hands. Nick marks and scars covered the Tengu's beak. An older Tengu stood at the base of the platform, and it wore a sort of dark purple shoulder garment. It also held a staff with a gnarled headpiece. The Tengu, sitting upon the throne, narrowed its eyes, and then let out a brief scoff.
What is this? A pair of human children? What nonsense is this?
These are not human children. They have magic wings.
Magic wings? Have you been flying in the hot sun for too long? I don't see any wings, be them magic or otherwise.
Tove willed his latent magic to flourish in his back, and his energy wings appeared behind him. At once, the many Tengu in the crowd started flapping their wings in surprise, and they called out over and over. They stopped once the Tengu chieftain held up its spear over its head. Tove dissipated his wings and then held his hands behind his back. Once it was silent, the chieftain turned toward the older Tengu at the base of the stairs.
What do you make of this, Story Weaver? Are you familiar with whatever these creatures are?
The other Tengu bobbed its head up and down for a moment and then shifted it from side to side. It gurgled several times.
Yes, I do recall an ancient story that my master once told me. Shall I tell it to you, chieftain?
The chieftain turned its eyes on Tove and Yurei again.
Go on. Tell us all you know. Once I hear it, I will decide what is to be done about them.
Acid bubbled in Tove's stomach, and he regarded his daughter for a moment. She held her hands in front of her, but she fumbled with her fingers. Tove gave her a small smile, held up a hand to her, and then gave a small nod. The older Tengu started to speak.
Once, long ago, the land was ruled by magic eagles. They ruled the heavens and everything that existed beneath it. This includes the Tengu. Legends tell of the nature of these eagles. Sometimes they were kind, and other times far too cruel for words. The eagles had servants to convey their will and their laws, and they were smaller than these eagles with bright wings. Every single race bowed to their will. One day, the humans rose up and waged war against the eagles. They brought many allies to the battlefield, and the war ravaged the land. The Tengu were forced to fight against the humans, but in the end, the humans conquered the eagles and banished them. It was rumored that they could return, if the conditions were right. Beware the signs of the eagles' return, for if they do, all who oppose them will be grounded into dust.
The Tengu chieftain gripped its spear shaft tighter, and it stood up from the throne. It had to have been at least 6 feet in height, although its body was limber and more dexterous than bulky.
So are you the servants of the eagles, the ones of whom our story weaver speaks?
My name is Tove, and this is my daughter Yurei. We belong to a long-forgotten race called the Vren. We serve the Alicorni, a pantheon of ancient and forgotten gods and goddesses. They are not eagles, though, but your ancestors might have mistaken them for such creatures.
Tell me this then, Vren. What do you want with us? What do your masters want? We will not become slaves to the eagles from the story, nor will we become slaves to new masters. The Tengu are mighty and free, and we rule the skies of these mountains.
My masters, the Alicorni, are returning back to this world. It is only a matter of time, and they wish to establish strong alliances prior to their return. There is going to be a great war between the gods and goddesses of old and the treacherous human empire. This is going to be your only opportunity to join us.
Are you threatening us? You dare to say such things when you are in our domain?
We are not trying to make you enemies. We are trying to ensure that you don't make us enemies.
The Tengu chieftain stepped down from his platform and took determined steps up to Tove. Tove's fists balled, and his body tensed a little, especially when the Tengu towered over him. The chieftain narrowed his eyes.
We are a proud people, and we want no part of your war. We will not join you, and we will not join the humans. If you wish to bring war to the Tengu, then you will be met with ferocity. We do not love the humans. In fact, we hate them. However, we cannot commit our youth to such a conflict.
I understand. We will tell our masters that you will not join us, but at the same time will not join the human empire. I will implore them to spare your people when they return. I understand how you feel. I truly wish that the Vren were able to live in peace, but we have been hunted by the humans in the past for our magical qualities. To recover everything we had lost, the Vren must fight.
I understand your position, and I am pleased you understand ours. If there is nothing else, then I would ask that you leave our skies.
Yes, there is something else. My daughter and I are here in search of an ancient temple, somewhere in these mountains. It was left by the treacherous humans, and something is inside that we desperately need. May we have permission to search your mountains for it?
A temple? Made by humans? There is only one structure that I am aware of, but it has long been raided.
Raided? By whom?
By the same monsters who constantly plague our kind. The Gohodans.
Gohodans? What manner of creature is that?
The very worst sort of monster. Humans. There's a city along the river, a place called Gohoda. They are a pirate people, but they constantly come into our mountains for hunting. They constantly steal our eggs and eat them!
That's terrible! I'm so sorry.
Story Weaver, what do you know of the ancient temple?
Once long ago, humans came into our mountains. They used strange magics to create a building made from rock, with a stairwell that led deep into the earth. It was such a strange thing, and the Tengu of old watched in curiosity as they went inside. The humans left, and the Tengu waited to see if they returned. After days of waiting, the humans had still not returned, so the Tengu went inside. There was a chamber inside with a strange altar. Something was on the altar, but when the Tengu got too close, a monster made of metal arose and killed all but 2 of the Tengu. They returned to the chieftain and told him of the dangerous place.
It's just like the first one.
One day 3 years ago, a large group of Gohodans were seen coming from the area where the temple was located. Our scouts investigated and found their tracks coming from the temple's interior. They went inside to see what the humans might have done.
What did they find?
The fabled metal monster was broken, or destroyed, and whatever laid on the altar was gone. If what you are seeking was in that temple, then it is in the clutches of the Gohodans. What was it? The item in the temple?
It is a piece of a magical key, one that opens the door to my master's cell, as it were.
So without that key, your masters and your war will not come.
Oh, we will get that key, even if we have to sneak into this Gohoda.
For a long moment, the Tengu chieftain stared at Tove with a closed beak and twinkling eyes. It smiled.
We will not join you in your war. But if you are going after the Gohodans, then we will help you in this.
Luxie led Nori from the tavern, a wide smile on her face. As soon as Nori noticed where they were headed, toward the docks, he spoke.
Where are we going?
Why, to my ship, of course. I told you I'm a smuggler, right? Well, I'd rather discuss our business away from nosy ears. After all, it's not often when one gets the opportunity to transport a Chutar and a member of the royal family somewhere.
Nori's blood ran colder, and he glanced about nervously.
Oh, relax, big guy. Your secret is safe with me. Besides, it wasn't hard to figure out after I saw the color of your concealed armor. Your kind are never in places without reason, and helping you, even during a great Kappa migration, will be quite lucrative.
So, what is a great Kappa migration anyway? Is it really that dangerous?
Oh, it totally is. The Great Kappa Migration is that special time of year when every Kappa in the world gather at the mouth of the Great River, where it feeds into the sea. They travel all the way upriver until they reach a very special lake in order to, mate. While the Kappa are in that state, they are aggressively horny towards members of the opposite sex, and deadly vicious regarding anything else on the water. During the Great Migration, The Kappa have been known and are famous for climbing onto ships, killing, and then eating the crew members before continuing on. The Kappa kill and eat everything they come across while they make their trek. So the fishing industry is ruined for the 2 weeks that follow the end of the migration.
This happens every year? I've never heard of such a thing.
I'm not surprised. Onista is so far to the northeast, and there aren't really any Kappa up there. Likewise, the river that the Kappa take is to the west of Cienba, so it would have never been an issue for you or the citizens there. The Great Kappa migration only affects the western side of the Empire. There she is, my baby, the grinning panda.
Luxie pointed to the last ship along the docks. It was a fairly large ship with a large central mast that had a large white sail and 2 smaller masts with smaller black sails at the front and back of the ship. A grizzled panda smiling face had been painted on the front of the vessel. Dozens of sailors were standing on the deck in small groups. They weren't working, but simply socializing. Luxie looked around for a moment and then leaned in close to Nori.
Okay, listen to me, Mr. Chutar. Because I'm risking the lives of my crew and my ship. And because I am transporting a member of the royal family, I want 30,000 gold coins upon my arrival.
30,000? You can't be serious.
Oh, I'm quite serious. Cienba is nearly 2,000 miles away, and the quickest way to get there is by boat along the river. That trip alone will cost you quite a bit from any captain. Not only that, this is during the Great Kappa migration, so hazard pay is included. Lastly, if you want me to keep who and what you are secret, then you're gonna have to pay for my discretion. That is included in the price as well. If you don't accept, I promise it will get out that you are Chutar. Sorry if that sounds mean, but it's business.
I suppose you don't have a choice.
Oh, don't look at it like that. Look at it like you're helping a friend with her fledgling business. And besides, any other captain would want some money up front. I'm willing to wait until we get to Cienba. I'm doing you a real favor.
Oh, so we're friends now.
Of course, you saved my crew, and for that I am deeply appreciative. If I'm being 100% honest, a major reason I'm asking for so much is because of how dangerous this job is. My crew are my family, and I want to make sure that they are well compensated.
I suppose that makes a lot of sense.
Trust me, Nori, it's the best deal you're gonna get. If you turn it down, you won't get one as nice from others, or me if you come crawling back.
Well, if this is my only real option, then I suppose it's the one I'll take. Will you be ready by tomorrow?
We can leave by tomorrow afternoon at the earliest. I'll let my crew know. You gather your companions and meet me here at my ship. Trust me, this is going to be a great experience.
Right. I guess I'll see you tomorrow?
You bet your sweet Onistan ass you will.
Nori walked away from the ship and started his long trek back to the university tower.